be skeptical. And this skepticism, especially towards metaphysics, and you know, metaphysics, I've already told you, metaphysics. Metaphysics is a treatise by Aristotle, metaphysics. So what is that metaphysics, Anshita? Meta. What does it mean, meta? Meta, it means just out of the sphere of physics. So metaphysics is what does not pertain to physics. For example, good or bad, true or false, cause and effect. So what principle, like of all being, unity and plurality. So all these questions are somehow not discussed in exact sciences. So exact sciences already presuppose that you know what is true and what is false, what is good and what is bad, what is the cause and what is effect. So you are just working on your specific problem, paying not much attention to metaphysical questions, like or I would say ontological questions of being and not being, and so this is this how to say very abstract questions. They seemed to David Hume like uh, distracting attention of man from real life, and he said that perhaps the task of the humanity is to sort of um, be critical towards metaphysics and start something. Uh, well, uh, well, he didn't use the word positive, but it appeared later in the 19th century. But you can understand what is metaphysical and what is positive attitude towards the world. So metaphysical attitude is uh, yeah, I would say stress on some abstract notions and highly abstract thinking about things that cannot be sort of verified. And positive thinking or critical thinking, as we remember, we spoke about Kant. Critical thinking demands like how would you say more realistic view on the possibilities of the human mind. So positivism is what is left to man if he cannot solve metaphysical problems, for example, the problem of the existence of God or the immortality of the soul, then he can, how to say, be happy with what he can do. For example, technology, something positive, something that could be sort of felt or seen or or understood, and something practical which can change your life somehow. Well, of course, a metaphysician will say, what does it all mean? For example, these successes in technology or this revolution in information science, if you are spreading lies, for example. Ahmed, you understand me, yes? If you
Yes.
are spreading lies by means of the internet, then what is the use of all this technology if you have not yet decided what is true and what is false? Okay, so this lack of metaphysical intuition leads to a great, how to say, contradiction between the, how to say, our high technology and low morality, for example. And also, this was stressed by Albert Einstein himself, who said that this our scientific progress is like an axe in the hands of a criminal. Okay, so if you give an axe or um, a tool of killing to a criminal, then he can kill more people with that. So atomic bomb, for example, or chemical weapons, they can kill thousands and millions of people even. So without moral questions, solving moral questions, there will be no use to develop technology. But at the times of Hume, these questions were not burning one, because technology was only starting. During the life of Hume, there were only first attempts to make, how to say, that um, this textile machine, or how to say, Jenny it was called, uh, this which helped greatly uh, excel, how to say, amplified uh, mm, the capacity of our labor. Okay, you remember this industrial revolution? It only started in the times of Hume, so the products were not very certain. But in the 19th century, when there was like a steamer and railroads and so on, so everybody could feel that something has really changed in Europe and in the whole world. So this was what we call industrial revolution on its surge, sort of, yes. And so uh, Hume was only a forerunner, okay, or he was like a prophet of this future positivistic philosophy, but with his skepticism and his criticism of metaphysics, and he like paved the way to this positivist philosophy. Why didn't Kant himself develop positivist philosophy? Because he was too much concerned with limitations of human reason and very little thought about technology and the progress of technology. So what was needed and what was lacking in content, what was needed was the belief in progress. And this belief we find with Auguste Comte, a French philosopher who developed original philosophy of progress. So according to Auguste Comte, human spirit comes through three stages. This is the law of three stages. You should memorize it because this is important for the exam. Law of three stages. People, an examinator can ask you what was the impact of Hume, what was his contribution to philosophy, and you should answer. You are supposed to answer. This is the Comte's law of three stages. I'm sorry, I didn't write the letter S. I will repeat it. Law of three stages. Stages. Letter S is important. Okay. What are those stages? The first stage is religious stage. Religious. When people follow practical religion full of superstition. For example, they believe in polytheism or many deities, that every forest, every fountain, every well has its deity. And so they also promote sacrifices, sometimes bloody sacrifices, human even sacrifices to many deities. There is a deity of beer, for example, a deity of thunder, a deity of war. So a religious stage. So, but this religious stage also has some also intermediate stages. So the highest religious stage is monotheism, when people start believe in one God. So when they come from idolatry to monotheism, this is good, but that is not enough. What follows after is the rational, how to say, natural religion, what Hume called natural religion, or just what reason tells us about the possibility of the creator and the how to say immortality of the soul. So when these questions of creator, of God and the soul come into focus of a thinker like René Descartes, for example, then we can say that we reached second stage, this metaphysical stage. You remember Descartes, René Descartes wrote a book, Metaphysical, how to say, Meditations, or Méditation métaphysique in French. So Descartes was a metaphysician, but he was also a metaphysical state. He was also a scientist, but his science didn't give practical results. So we cannot say that from Cartesian system of coordinate system follows something that can be used now as some technological invention or know-how. Ahmed, will you please shut down your microphone because otherwise there's some noise in your room. Uh,
Okay.
uh, Yes, I think there's some noise coming from your room. Okay, so metaphysical stage. This is René Descartes, and this is Leibniz, and this is also Spinoza. They are all have no connection with positive science or positive technology. So this metaphysical stage is not enough. It should be surpassed by scientific scientific stage when or exact science. I mean, when we say scientific, Kant means exact science. So physics, mathematics, chemistry, biology, and so on. So this is what you are working at now. So you are the representatives of the scientific stage, not metaphysical, not religious. Well, of course, you can have your private religion, and you can have your private metaphysical worldview, but this is not important for science, because science can be done by men with different religious opinions, with different metaphysical stands or ideologies. What is important for scientific stage is that you present something positive, some discovery that can be like evaluated by everybody. Well, for example, the discovery of penicillin. Yeah, and you know penicillinus, yes? I may pronounce it correctly. This is a drug. Anshita, is okay, or you don't get it? Antibiotics.
So we do use it in the antibiotics.
Yes, penicillinus is the first antibiotic which was found by English chemist or medical man Fleming, and he received Nobel Prize for that discovery of antibiotics. Okay, so now we have already a lot of antibiotics, and also some bacteria are resistant to antibiotics. So this problem of resistance is also a scientific problem. This is something positive. If you will find how to break the resistance of some bacteria towards antibiotics, then you will receive a great amount of money, which is already declared. I think about 10 millions of pounds. There's a English pounds. I mean, this is a premium reserved for the person who will solve this problem. But as yet, it is not solved. But this is an example, of course. You not from Kant. It is my example, but this is the example. What is positive? What is this positive character of science, so that it can be useful for all? Well, you or your relatives or somebody whom you know can suffer from tuberculosis, for example, and this tuberculosis bacteria can be resistant to antibiotics, and this greatly hampers the convalescence from tuberculosis or cure. Yes, so people are not cured from tuberculosis. You know tuberculosis, yes, TB, and they die because of that their bacteria develop resistance to antibiotics. Yes, and so no cure is possible. That's the problem, and people do not. Well, in if we speak about religion, the first stage, the religious stage, then we can perhaps think of miraculous cure or ask the god of health to help. Maybe in India there is a certain deity that helps during when you are suffering from some maladies, yeah? So you can go to a temple and pray, okay, and hope that you will be cured. If there's a metaphysical stage, you will just stoically receive this news that you will die, and you say, well, people die sooner or later, so what is the difference that I will die sooner and or other than later? Okay, so this tuberculosis maybe also helps me to sort of think more deeply about you understand. So metaphysical reaction is that reaction of like impassionate reaction, so just for beer it or stoical reaction, okay, but the positive reaction is to find a drug, to find a solution, to really solve the problem, not to think about this problem, not to pray, but to really solve the problem. This is what it means positive, okay? So Kant himself was an atheist. He lost his faith. I don't know why. During when he was at school, he confessed later that he lost his faith, but he couldn't live without any convictions. So he developed another form of faith. It was called religion of humanity. But it's interesting that this is compatible with positive with scientific stage. Religion of humanity. What is that? And he called, even later in his life, he called himself the high priest of the religion of humanity. And this word high priest a little bit scandalized his friend John Stuart Mill, who was an Englishman. And John Stuart Mill thought that perhaps Kant in his later years had gone a little bit crazy, okay, because he called himself a high priest of the religion of humanity. But why was it so? Because Kant thought that, and I quoted already Einstein, that without moral questions, you cannot build a happy society. Just science is not enough. So what we need is sociology. So sociology was a term coined by Kant, sociology. This is well, now it is of course very much known, sociology. There's in Moscow, there's sociological faculty in Moscow University. So now sociology. So now it's just a normal term, yes? But when Kant first coined it or sort of introduced it, he gave it a quite specific meaning that sociology is a science that will help to organize the world on a scientific basis, that or not only technology, but also human behavior. So, for example, people should be already educated in schools in such a way, scientific education should it be, that they should understand that to behave badly is not that sort of good for them. Okay, it doesn't bring them how to say uh, well, if you behave it doesn't bring them any profit. It's not profitable for them to be bad. Okay, it is, you understand? So this is a scientific idea, not that you say you should be good and heroic because it is beautiful. No, it's not enough. You should be, how to say, logically, the it should be logically proved to you that this kind of behavior is noxious for you, or that kind of behavior is beneficial to you. Okay, when you get these ideas from like practically, then you can understand, and you, so through your mind, the future generations will be educated through their minds at schools already, or in kindergartens, how to behave properly. And when this education will be spread throughout the world, introduced in all nations, then the crimes, the wars, the aggression will cease. People will become peaceful, intelligent, benevolent to each other, and there will be a kind of a human paradise. But in order to educate people in such a way, religion, Christian religion, should be substituted by a new form of religion. This is religion of humanity. So in Christian religion, as in Indian religion also, there are so-called saints or holy people or holy mm, uh, deities. I don't know. Well, so the calendar of a Hindu or of a Christian is full of mythological characters, fables, and so on. It should be, according to Kant, purified. So instead of those myths, should be introduced real people who really like fostered the progress of mankind. For example, poets, dramatists, musicians, composers, political leaders, men of science. So this will be the examples on which future generations will be taught. As we now doing something like that, I speak about Kant. Of course, Kant was very modest, and he didn't introduce his own name in his positivistic calendar. Or you can look at it, positivistic calendar. This is, I think it is, I've seen it, positivistic calendar. It is an article in Wikipedia where there's a link to a calendar, and you can even say what day is today, what sort of called positive saint or man uh, of genius we should celebrate today. Calend Calendar. I didn't write it perhaps right. Yes, calendar. Oh, well, okay. So I have only 2 minutes before the break. So is it understood who is Kant and what is his contribution? So please memorize these 3 stages and his religion of humanity, and what is positivistic calendar, what is sociology. So you should, the idea is to bring up people on good examples, okay? So introduce like secular feasts, or they can also call it secular religion. Well, uh, maybe it's a civil religion, okay? You understand? If you adore the flag, or in India, it perhaps the memory of Mahatma Gandhi, for example, or Nehru, or Mother Teresa, I don't know, people who really did something, okay? Well, of course, Mother Teresa also can be introduced in positivistic calendar. She is a Nobel laureate of peace, Nobel Peace Prize, and she did a lot for fostering caritative activities in India. So I think, but not because she's a religious nun. You understand? It's not religion, it's real things. If you are, say, a Christian or a Hindu, but you are doing something really positive to people, then of course you are can be introduced in this positivistic calendar, can be example for other people. So now, Anshita, we'll finish this one, and the same link will be valid.
Yes, sir. Same link will be work.
Yes, so we'll start a new conference, okay?
Yeah.
After a couple of minutes, okay? So don't get away, far away. Please join us for the next session, okay? Fei, yeah, understand, yes? Join us for the next session. Maybe
Yes,
we'll
okay.
speak about China a little bit, yes?
Okay, okay. Thank you.
How it is in China now. Uh, what
I'm
is,
in Moscow, in my country.
yeah, but maybe you have relatives in China.
Okay.
Okay.